Breathe better and sleep deeper with the Levoit Classic 160 Top Fill Humidifier. Don't wait. Check out the link in the video description to get your Levoit Top Fill Humidifier on Amazon today and enjoy a healthier, more comfortable home.
Elden Ring 2. Can't repeat Dark Souls 2's greatest mistakes. FromSoftware's president and regular director Hidetaka Miyazaki recently shot down the notion of Elden Ring 2 happening anytime soon. But it's hard to imagine a future where the powers that be don't push it through. When, not if, this happens, what should be the reasonable expectation? Well, I personally want it to be nothing like Dark Souls 2, that's for sure. While I don't think it was a bad game, it certainly didn't feel like the right follow-up to the modern classic that Dark Souls turned out to be. After a profoundly bumpy dev process, the game we received was a fascinating mess. Sure, it worked and was mostly fun to play, especially after the Scholar of the First Sin rework, but I can't overlook its disjointed and janky nature. Now, you might be wondering why I'm talking about Elden Ring 2 when the Night Rain release date is likely just around the corner. Its announcement at the Game Awards came out of nowhere and caused a collective scream of confusion before we all realized it wasn't a sequel, but a roguelike spin-off, designed first and foremost around co-op. While it's hardly a replacement for an Elden Ring 2, its fan reaction might help define future FromSoftware projects. While we're talking similarities and changes, one of the clearest links between the first Dark Souls and Elden Ring is their delightfully interconnected areas. Of course, the latter had more space to grow, but this statement relates to the design philosophy behind both games. The lands between feel every bit as connected and lived in as the comparatively tiny Lordran. Dark Souls 2's Drangleic, on the other hand, resembles a bunch of streets filled with dead ends linked to an admittedly lovely central hub called Magilla. Overall, it's a fractured game that we know wasn't the product of careful planning, but the result of a tumultuous developments, only worsened by a tight deadline. Even if the Tomohiro Shibuya and Yui Ishizaki collaboration was cut short, its influence still lingered in Dark Souls 2's overall design. It's clear what went wrong in this regard and how FromSoftware could avoid similar mistakes with Elden Ring 2. Elden Ring remains one of my favorite video games of all time. Period. But it's easy to spot where FromSoftware spread its resources too thinly in the pursuit of creating a king-sized odyssey. Several minor dungeons and crypts feel copy-pasted or reminiscent of the monotony of Bloodborne's procedurally generated Chalice dungeons. And the same goes for some of the bosses whose only differentiating factor is their name. Elden Ring's weak points are in some ways similar to what hurt Dark Souls 2. The idea that it had to be a bigger and meaner take-on from Souls-like formula just because. Elden Ring made it work in the end, no doubt in part due to its longer development time, but a full sequel can't, and seemingly won't. If Miyazaki's comments hold true, chart the same path. So how should Elden Ring 2 look and feel? I can only speculate. But I think FromSoftware could learn from Dark Souls 3's approach. A sensible and introspective continuation of the original, a return to the lands between that feels like a nostalgic adventure on the surface level. It was in conversation with its predecessors without feeling like a straightforward rehash. For now, we wait for Night Rain's verdict.